Hello, everyone, and welcome to May 2026 Integration Down Under. We've got a couple of slides to go through and we'll get started. Our organizers are Martin in Perth, Dan in Brisbane, Mick in Sydney, Wagner in Auckland, and myself in Melbourne. And today we've got Ahmed talking about some AI tools around BizTalk. And I mean, this is the topic that's fairly near and dear to my heart because I've been doing BizTalk since 2001, so a long time. And what I find with a lot of my clients is that they have no idea what BizTalk is doing now because they weren't there when it was built. They weren't there when it was deployed, and it just works in the background. And one of the clients that we did work for decided they would move to MuleSoft. All the BizTalk developers left, and the 18-month project turned into 5.5 years and didn't work when it was finished because the developers didn't understand what BizTalk was doing. So without any more chatting, I'll turn over to Ahmed. And let me put his screen up for you, and then we will go. There we go. Your screen's showing now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you hear you fine?
Oh, my screen showing.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. As Bill was just saying that my name is Ahmed, but let's start with some introduction about me. Thank you, Bill, for inviting me today. Here, can you see my screen? So I will just start with like a small presentation and a bit of imagination. I've never been to Australia, so that's how far I can go with AI tools and myself in Australia. So my name is Ahmed. I'm a CTO of a company called Contica, located in Sweden. And I am also a Microsoft Azure MVP. And yeah, if I'm not working on building integrations, then I'm trying to explore how far can we go with AI tools and how can we use that to leverage and be more effective and to leverage those tools to be more effective in daily basis. But enough about me. Let's just talk about what actually was Bill was mentioning now. It's like BizTalk migration is always stalling. It's like usually, even if you don't have a small start like you were mentioning, Bill, just now, you usually end up with, like in the beginning, it's a really hard start. To get start a project, because why? The scoping is slow. If a BizTalk environment is not documented, then you usually start with meetings and workshops that takes months, weeks, a lot of energy, and estimations of how the scope is. I'm talking about the scope now specifically. What are we in? What are we migrating? How much math, how complicated is it? It takes time and energy. And risks never show up on workshops, and they never show up on meetings. They show up always later on, when we are like in the middle of the battle, as they say. So that's the challenge that everyone face, as you was mentioning, Bill, now. And every client is different. So even if we say that I have been working with BizTalk for many years and I've been building lots of integrations, but still the context of every client is different. Every BizTalk environment is different somehow, even though the technical parts and how we build the integration, how we wire them up is similar and we can understand that, but still there is a business process on top of that. There is something more to the platform, and it's have been living there for years. Yeah, we're saying something, Bill?
No, that's one of the big things is that BizTalk was such a flexible tool.
Yeah, exactly.
You set 10 developers down, and you're going to get 10 different solutions, and it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard to grasp, and it is hard to get. And and every client is different, even in the same industry. They still get different. I've been seeing that, and I guess way more than me, BizTalk environments, and is the easiest part, because that's like where you sit down and you just like have a map, you put it, you add it to an XML, you make it an XLT, and then you put it in a logic app, or you just refactor the whole thing and you build it in integration, migrating to Azure Integration Services, because we are Microsoft guys here. So you have the BizTalk team, which is usually that like there for years. They know the environment in and out, and they know exactly what's fragile and what's good, and what they have not been touching for years because they don't want to touch it, because it's just working and they just leave it alone. And then we have the migration team. It's usually some people coming to help out through the migration project, and those people are maybe newer developers. They haven't been fighting with BizTalk for years. They didn't really touch it this much, but they know about integration. It's just different era. And this, if you have been with BizTalk for years, then your context is different than someone who came into the industry a bit later and learned how to build integration on Azure. So it's quite different between the people there. And still, with all of those things, it takes workshops and meetings, and you have already a business running that you don't know how to build that, and you want to scope because the client want to say, we're going to build that in a year. Like as you've been mentioning earlier, Billy, it took 5 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So from 1 year to 5 years, so because things shows up under. Because we start the project blindly or according to some roadmap written in a PowerPoint. And the handoffs is our bottlenecks. It's not the code, it's not BizTalk, it's not all of this. It's just like the workshops. It's extracting some knowledge from the team, and the transfer of the knowledge to the new team that will migrate is it's not that smooth, and you have the documentation hunt. Sometimes it doesn't even exist, which is normal in a BizTalk environment. And the scope that's built on a memory of someone or through notes from a meeting, which is really fragile in that case, and it can actually affect the whole project in a big time. And that's what took me to this challenge. When we are like now in 2026, AI is a big thing, and like we're saying, let's just put it in AI, and that's usually what you think about. I have my my orchestration, and I have my file. It's XML. I can just put that on a chatbot somewhere, and then it will give me a nice plan, and it will tell me exactly what to do that on Azure, which is nice concept. But then when you look into it, that's the BizTalk migration is not one file of of an orchestration that you're gonna fill, and you cannot do that one by one. And also you need to scope before that. So you need to have a full documentation, and you have to have control over the scope before even you start to put that on chatbots and refactoring them to logic apps or functions, whatever you will be migrating them to. So usually it sounds nice to use AI, but then you have it's not only 2 files. You have usually maybe 5 orchestrations. That's really big, and loads of maps, pipelines, ports. That's like you need to understand its configurations. You have schemas, you have dependencies between all of those integrations. It's not just 2 files that you're gonna throw in a chatbot somewhere and then they will be just transformed. And you cannot really scope this amount of files in a chatbot. And that's the challenge that I've been trying to understand, because I still need to start a project. Using AI in development, that's a good thing, cool. But how to help me start projects? So I went to another concept also. It's like when I start to use AI heavily, I met with context walls, because we know all the models have context window that they start to hallucinate after roughly 70%. And if I start to use this for one client, I burn out all my tokens, which is a big problem enough for everyone, in a couple of days. And I still don't have a scope. I just trying to surf this out somehow. So it's not that productive actually to use AI in that way. So I was trying to figure out if there is any other way to do that. And then for some inspiration from some other people who've been doing other stuff, and then I start to see, okay, can I use AI in a step? I take it back to help me maybe build tools instead of just putting it to the code directly. What I wanted to do is I wanted to parse a file. I know that everything in BizTalk is XML. All the files are XML. There is some .NET code, but mostly it's an XML file. All the schemas, all the orchestrations, most of the mappings, they are all, even the BizTalk maps are also XML files. So I can parse that, but I need to create a tool fast. So what is the best tool to parse XML? The best language, the fastest one, it's actually Python. But then I'm not good in Python. I do understand it a bit, but I haven't been using that. We usually using .NET. So while using AI to just start with a couple of orchestrations and maps, and I started to create a tool to parse those files to create some kind of a picture of how can I do that. So because I wanted to create a small amount of files that will help me shrink this context into a smaller files. And my target was to transform extract all the information I need from those large XML files, put them in JSON files. Why JSON files? Because it's easier for the agents to understand them and reason over them. And it's also smaller in size. And that's how it came alive. So I started to go in there. I know what I want to know from BizTalk. I know what I wanted to ask for. So I create those parsers that goes in and extract some information for me from those XML file, large XML files, and create smaller files with the information that I need in JSON format. That gave me the ability to, instead of having thousands of files to go through in BizTalk, I went down to 10. And we will be seeing that later, like soon, I think. And where is... yeah. I think it's a bit easier to show it instead of talk about it. So maybe we can jump into the demo. What do you think? There. Where is the demo? Yeah, there. So what I have here, I can just show you a bit fast. I have here just a normal file with all of my folders and all my local MCP servers, and even all the structures and the Python file, the scripts that I use to parse those files. I have them on a folder locally here. And then I started to start my local server that's like focusing on, like, the whole tool is a local server. So I just started using PowerShell, as you can see here. And this is the interface. So as you can see here, it's just a local server. I know that I have the code inside, and if I want to do a new assessment, I will need to add a client name. I will have that integration down under, and then I would need what I need from BizTalk, actually, I don't need a lot of meetings. I don't need big workshops. I just need two important things from BizTalk that gives me everything, which is first one is a binding file. Let me just grab this one from here. And so now I have a local. This one I exported from a BizTalk environment, and it sits locally on my computer here. I can run the tool with only the binding file, but I want more. So I wanted also to run on my shell code, the source code. And that's the path for BizTalk. So once I run it here, it will just create a folder.
Mix just joined in. He's another one of the diehard BizTalk guys.
Hi, folks. Love it.
Hello. So I just created a folder for me now. And what I will now go ahead and start to do, now it's empty. I don't have any data. I will just start to run the assessment. And as you can see here, my scripts that I created start now to parse BizTalk files and start to create, to fetch those information for me. And then it will start to put them here. And since I never trust the demo gods, so I already have been running this before hand because I didn't know. I don't want this. Let's just go there. They are not happy anyway. Yeah. So as you can see here, it goes through steps, and all of those steps will just start to fetch some information from the maps. There is already, as we can see here, 302 maps have been parsed. And then you have like 193 chains, which is like chains of maps collected together. And then if we look up there, we have, it has been parsing the binding file, looking into all the receive locations, send ports, all of those things. And in the background, it's just working. And this is a Python code that's parsing the file, and AI agent that's also helping out on just giving some reasoning on top of that. Now let me go to this one here, because I think I posted the wrong file. So, and then that's will be my final results, which is like, it just gave me a dashboard here. It looks nice, and I can see what is how many, like the information that if I'm gonna do an analysis of a BizTalk environment, I usually will grab BizTalk documenter and I will start to create some Excel files, or just have some meeting if it's not documented, and usually it's not documented. It just gave me some KPIs here about how the environment feel and look. I know that they have this kind of components in BizTalk, and you can see here that there is some kind of scoring mechanism I have been doing. This is my own way of like translating how complicated is the environment. And let's go through that. Let's go through the inventory, so you will understand how much what I mean with those numbers. So if we just take the orchestrations here up there, it's just like some kind of heat map that shows me the orchestrations, and the red ones are complicated and the green ones are simple. And yeah, I don't know, I like heat maps, so I just created it because I can. And if we open one orchestration here, what I can see here is already parsed, and I can see that the orchestration name, and then I have the like the orchestration name and the project, and I can even copy the file path here if I want to open this, and then it will start, like open it for me. And yeah, something I forgot to mention here, that I also wanted to try to, if I am a person who don't have BizTalk 2011 Visual Studio 2012 to look into files for BizTalk to just get now available in that now. So I don't need to build the solutions. I don't need to do anything. I just need the source files as is.
We've just lost him.
I thought that was me, Bill. I thought maybe my session was a little bit dodgy.
No, we
so no doubt he'll try and connect back. What a great tool, sort of being able to interrogate a BizTalk environment and then coming back and having a great graphical interface that's sort of showing you what it is.
Yeah, I mean, because the last projects I did where we were upgrading from older versions of BizTalk to newer versions of BizTalk, you went through manually and did all that same stuff, so you could get an idea what it was going to take you to do the upgrade.
Well, he mentioned Documenter, and the BizTalk Documenter, and in the past that's been one of the things that I've used a fair bit as well.
Yeah, the biggest problem I found with Documenter was that you didn't have a really good picture of the ports and stuff associated with the orchestration because they cheated a little bit and they used the engine in BizTalk that would create an image of the orchestration for the debugger.
Yeah.
And the debugger didn't have any concept of those connections. So we're going to have to get, I just pinged him on WhatsApp. We'll see if he can get connected back up. So, but yeah.
Where was he coming in from?
Sweden.
Yeah, right.
Yep. So, I don't know. Did you catch any of the partner call they had this week on the new tool that the BizTalk group is developing?
No.
Okay. Harold had a talk this week for some of the partner community that we can talk about a little bit, and it's related to they've built a tool that does similar to what his tool does, but it actually also creates the logic apps from your BizTalk environment. So it looks at all the stuff in the BizTalk environment, and it's going to be able to create your logic app standard projects and things like that from it. It's going to be interesting. I know that I found one recently at a client site where inside of an orchestration, they had a loop that was calling off to a .NET code that was calling off to a database, which I was always taught in BizTalk that you didn't make that call to a database through a .NET object inside of an orchestration, because if that orchestration gets dehydrated, you're buggered in terms of what it's going to do with that connection.
Yes.
This was looping through, basically making calls to the database. So it's going to be, I'm really waiting to see if I can get that tool to then be able to hit this particular BizTalk solution to see if it's going to pick that up.
Yeah, wow. I mean, they're all just sort of, that'd be manual rules that you'd have to enter in.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how well they can do it. But I mean, one big thing of Ahmed's tool is that at least you know what BizTalk is doing, because that's the biggest challenge you've got is, and like I said early in the show, is that we didn't really have, if the BizTalk developers are gone and the people that were built the solution 10 years ago are gone, how do you know what it's doing? And that's going to be the biggest challenge of, and I mean, because I had one client, they decided to move from BizTalk to MuleSoft. As soon as they announced it, all the BizTalk developers said bye. And they were been convinced by MuleSoft it was a 18 months project. They finished it in 5.5 years, and then they had a year's worth of Sev1 production issues because it didn't match what the BizTalk was doing. So they kept finding edge cases that they completely missed. So
that's harsh.
Yep. And then I think they and then they went production with their MuleSoft, got their first bill, and then decided, we're going to move back to Azure.
Surprise.
So so that's that was an interesting thing. I can't get him to back in at the moment. I don't know whether he can't connect to us or
no. Well, I mean, you and I are connected.
Probably one of the U.S. warships just ran over one of the submarine cables. Who knows what's going on? So, everybody that's listening to this, if we can't get him reconnected, I'll tee up a time with him later on. We can go through it and get him to do a recording of the stuff that he's going to show. And then I'll put it up on the YouTube channel from there. But I'm not getting anything from him on WhatsApp, so I'm not sure what's going on. But obviously, connectivity is not good at the moment. So, but it's going to be and I mean, when we start thinking about BizTalk, all the BizTalk work I've done recently in the last 2 years has all been driven not out of the BizTalk group. It's been driven out of security because they've looked and said, there's a BizTalk 2013 instance running SQL 2008 and Windows 2012 R2. They're not supported anymore. You got to upgrade. And then I get these calls about, can we upgrade the Windows and SQL on our BizTalk 2013? And the answer is no. So it's been upgrades. I did 3 or 4 upgrades of BizTalk 2013 to 2020 so that they could run for a few more years. And I mean, the support goes out. The mainstream support goes out in mid-28. So April 28, and then extended support and paid support will continue to April of 2030. But there's a couple caveats people need to think about. And the SQL and the Windows go out of support in 29. So you have to do an in-place Windows upgrade and an in-place SQL upgrade in the middle. Yes. Somebody's got a question, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, security's always got the security's always the driver, isn't it? Well, there we go.
So and that's going to be the interesting fact of it. It's going to be real interesting on that. I am not sure whether we're going to get Ahmed back tonight or not, but we will wait and see. we just lost connectivity, and I'm not sure he's coming from Sweden. So I'm just not sure that's a long way to go with all of the global telecom. So, but like I said, we will try to catch up with him, and if we don't get reconnected today, catch up with him and get that recording put up onto the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it'd be great to get a pre-recording.
Yeah. For the question, what's the specific open source libraries you're finding most effective for parsing BizTalk artifacts metadata into a format the LLMs can accurately analyze? So what Ahmed's done is he's actually written some Python to do that, and he's turning the XML into JSON, and then he takes that JSON and feeds that into the LLMs. So I'm not sure if he's using any specific open source libraries, but one of the things I did mention already is that in the next couple of weeks, the BizTalk group is going to have a set of extensions for Visual Studio Code that will actually parse your BizTalk information and give you, it runs through a process where you do a discovery and then a plan and then an implement, and it will create, it's going to be able to create some Logic App Standard code inside of Visual Studio Code to basically give you what BizTalk was doing. Some cases,
in a Logic App.
Yeah. And in some cases, it's a one-to-one. Some cases, they split the orchestration into multiple parts. So that's going to be what happens there. I am not sure we're going to get him back, but yeah, it's going to, the whole idea, I think, that is that we've got right now, we've got about 4 years, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah. So 4 years, less than 4 years till it goes out of mainframes, or extended support. 2 years till it goes out of mainstream support. And I mean, I've got a customer that's got like 130 BizTalk apps, and that's not going to be something you do overnight. That's going to be something
in the one cluster.
Huh?
How many hosts have they got?
They're only running 2 BizTalk servers.
Yeah, wow.
A lot of them aren't very frequent.
Yeah.
So they may get 1 or 2 messages a day. But they made some interesting decisions early on, and they basically have got a lot of mapping from inbound schemas to the other ones. Another question, using an AI agent to map BizTalk orchestrations to Azure Integration Services, how do they handle transition of custom message assignments and expression shapes? So basically what they're doing is, if you know the Logic App Standard, there is that custom code version of Logic App Standard. So what they're doing is they're creating, they're putting that custom code in some functions and then calling them from inside of the Logic App Designer. I've done that a lot because one of the things that I ran into was, in Logic App Standard, I wanted to call off and get a token and call off to a website. Writing all of that token code in Logic Apps is painful. I'm sorry, it's just painful.
Yeah, yeah.
I was able to write maybe 50 lines of C# in a function. I call it, I get a token back. I can put that token into the web call and basically get an easy way of doing that. And I think that's from what Harold said, that's what he's looking at. They're going to be doing custom functions in the Logic Apps consumption. And I mean, most of the that's when I build a standard logic app, I don't do anything except pretty much the ones with a custom code, because I tend to go there. And I mean, even for things with some of my EDI work, I build a parser that would tell me when I decode something from AS2, is it X12? Is it edifact? Is it just JSON, or what is it? So I built just a little simple parser that runs as a function that I can call with the payload, and it tells me what it is so that I know what to do with it, and things like that. So it just makes life a little bit easier there that you've got those ability to do that. I don't think for that question, for a smaller company on a tight budget.
The question out, Bill.
Yeah, actually, what I'll do is I'll actually
flip
the question up there. For smaller company on a tight budget, is it truly cheaper to invest in building AI migration tool than it is to hire a developer to do the work manually? So hold tight on this. In a couple of weeks, you're going to have this tool from the BizTalk group. They're open sourcing this tool. And basically, you're going to have the ability to point it at your BizTalk environment, and it's going to create these logic app standard for it. And the other interesting thing that's probably not as relevant, but they're going to have the ability for you to build custom integration. He's back. Okay, hold on a second. Let me add him to the stage.
Wow.
Hey there.
My phone was away from me. I didn't see that, and I was talking to the camera.
Yep. Sorry.
When did you lose me?
You were looking at you had just brought up the orchestration in the like a Visual Studio Code. You'd clicked on it from your visual stuff. Yes.
Oh my God, that's the whole demo, actually.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't see. I couldn't see.
Yeah. Can you share your screen, and do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Continue
I can share my screen, and we can go this one. I can go with it faster.
Yep.
Through it faster.
And we had a few questions while you were gone about. Are you using any specific open source libraries to parse your BizTalk stuff, or are you doing it all in the Python?
All in the Python.
Or AI tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you see my screen now?
Let me add it to the stage. Yes, we do. I have your screen. So you were in the screen where you had the orchestrations across the top with the color coding?
Yeah, there. Just coming in a second. Yeah.
Yeah, you had the orchestrations there, and then you'd brought up the one orchestration you'd clicked on it and brought it up in VS Code. So that's where we left off.
Yeah. It was like I was just showing you that there is a path for that orchestration, and I can just go look at that. And I went down and I started to explain here the numbers coming from, it's like this is my own system of trying to measure this, how complicated this orchestration. And I tried to the count of shapes and the nesting depths of those things in it. And then I do some calculation to just have some kind of a number. How complicated is that? So I can actually classify each orchestrator. Like there is some will be simple, some will be moderate, some will be So it's just a simple way to get that out of the way. And then inside the orchestration,
how do you handle those custom code shapes where you could write a bunch of C# scripting in your orchestration?
I already parsed them and show them here. They are already in.
Okay.
I tagged them because I'm now parsing the whole orchestration, and then I'm choosing where is the inline, and then I tag that on the JSON file. I can show you the JSON file, but like let's go, because I know that I'm sorry I lost a lot of time here, and
that's right.
And then I tag those as custom codes here, So since they are tagged here as custom code, I have them on a JSON file, which is actually sits locally on my disk here. Let me just show that to you pretty fast there. Here is the whole, I now run an assessment on a client called demo. So this is my analysis. It's just, those are the JSON files. And where is orchestration? Yeah. Yeah.
Just bring that onto the screen.
Orchestration file, and that's actually what I'm rendering into that now.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see me now.
Yeah, your Python is taking the XML and creating these JSON files.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. And then for all the BizTalk resources, I'm doing the exact same thing, and I'm like trying to create some kind of measurements for each of them and tagging what's important and what I actually look for as a BizTalk expert. Because that's when you open something like that, that's what you look for. You want to know those things. You want to get those information. Even the func tweets, I want to know how many of them, what type of func tweets are there, and what they are doing in each map, and so on. That's like all of the BizTalk resources like that. And even the naming convention, I go through and try to find the pattern here. This one is AI agent doings, because it starts to look, if there is, let's say that this BizTalk environment is not documented at all. I wanted to know the pattern that they are using. So I use AI to look into the naming of each ports and all of those resources, and then create this kind of structured file for me, so I can actually read and see, is this something we're going to follow when we're migrating or not, or we're going to put our own. And then since I already have all of those inventory from BizTalk, and I have been breaking them down this way, and even the routing, the filters, I try to pick up what filters they have, where they are used, what type of filters they are using. I can start to take this information and then go ahead and couple all of those, like make those workflows. I know what ports are listening to what send ports are listening to what receive locations, or listening what subscribe to what. And I start to put those together, and I know what maps are used, what schemas, what type files in each of those integration, and who's involved in this. And then I take that and go ahead and also talk to the client and tell them, okay, that's to the person at the client to not take their time in long workshops. I start to go through the most important, or the one that I have been actually scoring high, because I'm interested in those, because that's going to be my scope creep. I want to know exactly about them so I can focus on them later. And I have, and I have here my overview. I even map, since I already know their naming convention, I start to figure out what kind of pattern they have on the on this. So I know where the system sits, what kind of system they have. So I start to map that as well, and start to see, okay, those are the flows under these systems. Now I have been making up those names now. It's not real systems, but like you can like imagine if it's like systems and then you have these patterns, you will see that here. All of this is good, but we still did not do anything with AI yet in that sense, because I'm an expert now. I have those things, and I have more questions that doesn't show in this report. So I can just go ahead and click on that button up there. Let me just grab one question here fast. Now, since I already have been putting all of my, I know what I did. Here, now it's starting a PowerShell, since I clicked on that button, and then it starts this. Just give it a second. Now it went up an agent, and this agent already started, and it had some kind of error. Yeah, I It's a demo. Anyway, but it succeeded in the end. And the knowledge base for this agent is actually the analysis folder that I just did. So I took all of those 10,000 files and put them on this folder. And now this agent can simply act as BizTalk or the BizTalk expert or this environment and start to answer questions that I have, like just fast questions or whatever. It can start to create plans for me. It can create more grounded scope based on the data that I choose from the BizTalk environment. As you can see, I just asked it a simple question. That's not even a complicated prompt. And then it started to gather for me the information from the files.
Just a quick question. Did you do anything with the ESB toolkit and like the itineraries?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to with second. That's actually for my I had a slide, an ending slide that shows what the whole goal from this is. I wanted to test if let's say this is BizTalk, and if I want to give it to a person who doesn't know BizTalk this much.
Yep.
How can I give them this so they can run this assessment, and then they can have this information and start to have this conversation and start to do that. And then I will start to include other features and maybe go to other systems that's not even BizTalk. So anything legacy actually that want to go to Azure, I can just start to move it on with this concept, because it's the concept here is I use AI to create the tools, and then I reason over these tools, and I have control over the context of this legacy.
Yeah, I'm wondering how well some of the AI tools can move like WCF services to modern REST services and things like that.
Even just recognize them. But I've just got a question around the files that you had. So when you're using the agent and it's backed by all those files, I guess what's your logic there? How do you make the agent aware of those files? Do you sort of ingest them and then create an index, or what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I do, I have that on the prompt here. Let's go to my CI. Why this screen is? I just give that on the prompt, and this agent belongs to this project, so it doesn't have it only look into one place. Let me.
And I don't know whether you're here for it, Mick, but he's taken the XML files and stuff out of the BizTalk and converted them to a standardized format JSON file that defines what the artifact is and some complexity about the artifact, that then I think those get consumed by that agent.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a PowerShell script here. I don't know what happened to there.
Yeah, so I guess it's in the consumption by the agent, because we can load up a zip full of files and say use this to get your answers from, or load up several files, but there's a limit at some point.
I have been testing that on an environment that has about 3,000 files. It has already 1,000 map, and it could manage it.
Yeah. So do you load them all up?
What?
Do you load them all up, or?
No. That's what I'm trying to get for you now, because I just I don't load them all at once. It's all about how I am actually the instructions of this agent. Let me give you that. Oh my God. There. The instructions of the agent itself is I have it pointed at this, and then I have instructions on top of that. As you can see here, it has a name. There we go. Yeah, so it's I don't know what happened here now.
So you have the agent pointing at one file, do you?
Yes, I have the folder. This
folder.
Every client, when I open that, it just fires up. There is a Python script that's fire up this in PowerShell, and then it will open this for me.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's let me see. I just have a bit of an issue here with the CLI, but of course, because I wasn't prepared for that question, specific question. But yeah, it's that's what it's actually is about. It's just mainly about the show instructions. Oh, yeah. You can see something is frozen totally in my computer. Yeah. Anyway, because we have only 7 minutes left, and you had a hard stop, Bill, you said.
Yep.
So, yeah. What I was trying to, my takeaway on this is not the actual agent and how. Do you see anything now?
No.
I'm very sorry. Something is seriously wrong with the connection here with me.
Just keeping it real. We know all about that.
Yep.
Did your computer heard you say demo at some point?
Let's try to do
it. You go out of the room when you say that sort of stuff. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There we go. There we go. So I will try to show it this way. Anyway, to just get that. It's just a couple slide here. So what I want to give away here to people that please don't focus on how the tools, just focus on the concept. Use AI to create tools and create your context to use AI in a correct way, in a more controlled way. I'm not saying that this is the magic recipe or anything like that, but it's just a more organized way to attack those old legacy systems and help move them to cloud.
Yep.
And like, yeah, we all have questions to those legacy systems, and we try to put them. Let's try to translate those questions and those knowledge to tools to help also other people to understand, because we need. If I can understand BizTalk environment, if I sit with it alone, doesn't give it to my team. I need to tell them something. I need to tell my clients. I need to have a scope. So try to translate your knowledge to tools to actually give it away to others so they can leverage from that. And that's what was all from me today. I also, if you would like to keep in touch, and please hear from you if you want to be our guest in Integration Love Story. It's a podcast about people behind the technique and how they are, what they do, how they approach their problems, why they are actually in love with BizTalk, if that's a thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And why such people are there, like me, like you guys, all of us. Why are we nerds like we are, and we love what we do? So we try to highlight the stories behind the people, and behind the technical part. And this is my LinkedIn if you would like to connect. So
yep.
Please, for me. I need to stop sharing. So now I think I'm good.
Okay, let me just put my slides back up. There has been some questions while you were gone. And I think Nick and I pretty much covered those for some people. It was kind of, one of them was for us, I'll put it back up. It was for a smaller company on a tight budget. Is it cheaper to invest in the AI tools or just get a developer to do the work manually? And my comment was that that hold on to and wait for what's coming out of the BizTalk product group at the moment with their extensions for VS Code. I think that's going to, for those smaller companies and things like that, I think that's going to be a really good starting point. But again, I mean,
there is already BizTalk Starter. They released the tool. It's quite good, and you can try that out.
Yeah. And I mean, the argument always is going to come back to is, do you use a tool that converts your BizTalk to logic apps, or is this the time to rewrite what you're doing into a different way of doing it? And I mean, that's one of the things that people are going to run into is the systems that BizTalk are talking to have been around as long as BizTalk has been. Have they been replaced? Do they need to be replaced? Is it going to be a time where it's not just BizTalk that you have to replace? It's everything else around it.
Can they be replaced?
Yes, well, that's exactly what I was saying.
I mean, it's a classic example that the work I've done recently, where they had AX 2012 on-prem, and they had BizTalk talking to it. And then all of a sudden they went to D365 F&O in the cloud, and then they needed some other way to talk to it. So we did some of what BizTalk was doing in Logic Apps and things like that. So it's going to be those kind of things. And I think it's going to be an interesting kind of endeavor for companies of what do we do? There's other things that are going to change around it. BizTalk was primarily on-prem. Is everything that we are talking to now on-prem, or have we got weird connections going on to where we've got stuff in the cloud and we're using BizTalk still, but now we need to move to the cloud?
So I think there's a few things that have happened, along the way, and one is that APIs have, if you like, standardized a lot more, rather than the classic BizTalk days where it was sort of the Wild West and every system had an almost unique way of connecting to it. But even if we are, coming back and focusing in on REST-based APIs, for example, that are the modern day, there's still all sorts of considerations of paging and load and all sorts of things. It's not just a straightforward call and get a response back. So, I think we have different challenges today, and I'd love to be able to put all that into an AI prompt and say, build me the widget that comes out the other end. But, there's a lot more to it, the context of the AI thing. And, if we do have AI as part of the process, for example, it works today, it works tomorrow, it doesn't work the next day because of some congestion, something's missing, your tokens run out. Like there's just different problems that you're going to get.
You need to keep it meeting. I have been building that for like months now, because every time something new happened, okay, now I need to rethink that. That. And I think we like it's nice and it's innovative in a way, but still it opens a lot of doors that wasn't available before. Like we always had the way to go when we are thinking about BizTalk that is not documented, and we want to migrate that. We run into BizTalk Documenter. That's the basic for everyone. They go use BizTalk Documenter, and then you do that.
Well, just look back. What was it? They built that BizTalk migrator. There was no AI in that at all.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly. But it took so much time to build that.
Yes. And that's the difference, is the time it's going to take. But I still think this is one of the things I'm trying to convince my clients is you've got to start now. You've got too much to do in too short a time. Your security guys are going to start jumping up and down because stuff is out of support, and you need to make that move. So
yeah,
I do have to do a hard stop. So I'll ask both of you for your last little bits of comment.
You can start, me.
Oh, yep. Okay. Oh, look, I think, I think it's always great to plug into the tooling, to the latest tooling. We're in a problem space. It's not one and done. You can't sort of run the tool once and then get your answer and then run with that for the rest, till the sun comes down. I think it's great that we can take our BizTalk problem space and be able to run it through something that can give it a lot more metadata meaning and I guess context over the top of it, allowing us to manipulate it to whatever other environment we want to go to. So I think that's key, just modernizing what we do.
Yeah. Yes. And exactly. I will just continue to that. So we have also, because we have the hard stop, and it's exactly my point. Create a tool, try to be more effective to speed up things, because we are running out of time with those legacy systems, and we need to find ways to actually start to do something about them. And the only thing we have on our hands is actually our own experience. We know what we need to know about those tools and what about those old systems. So let's try to build that so we can actually share our knowledge with other people in a more effective way, and to also help the start of this journey. But it needs to start soon, because as you say, there is not much time, and if everything is moving fast now and everyone is creating their own tools, then maybe things will be more on cloud or in containerized, and we would need to start to look into those legacy systems, all of them, not only BizTalk.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you guys very much. That was very informative. The recording will be up shortly on the YouTube channel. So you can go to Integration Down Under and listen to the talk. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You, and I apologize again for the connection. That was...
Keeps it real.
Yes, exactly.